Good morning to our guests, participants this morning, as well as to our panel. We are going to take just another minute to allow a few more people to join. We're getting close to critical mass, and so if you'll stand by for a minute, and we will kick off this morning's webinar. Thank you. All right, we got a good number of attendees, a few more dribbling in here, but we'll get started because we've got a great full panel of experts this morning, and eager to get that group handed over to the Centra and get underway. I'm Scott Seeley with Trifecta Communications, partnering with Christine Gannon to pull our group together today. And if we could click through to the next slide. And we got that, Christina?
Yep, I'm clicking through, but it doesn't seem to be showing, so just give me 1 second.
Okay, all right, we'll keep going until that pops up. Just a couple of housekeeping announcements, and we can go on actually to the next one. But as you are probably aware, whether it's a Zoom bombing or hacks or other things, there have been a couple episodes in the greater community here recently of something going awry during a webinar. If that happens, we will shut down and we will restart. So we'll keep up, but we'll kind of lock out whatever the problem is and then restart where we left off if that happens. The other is, hope you've got the chat function, the chat box that you can use as we go through to put in your questions, and Centra will be watching that and picking those up and sharing them with the appropriate presenter as we go through the program, and I'll allow Centra to walk us through that. As you can see, we've got a great group of presenters with us this morning, and experts in our field. It is a focus this morning on hospitality and employment in the hospitality industry, as well as the transition that's going on with that workforce in a COVID environment. Part of a series of forums that we are putting on to allow different sectors in the Valley community to come together and talk about how we can keep business booming while dealing with a pandemic. So if we can hit the next one. Just to highlight then, the purpose is to get from our experts an overview of where hospitality is today. I'm sure we all have a general sense, but get some more specifics from experts in the field, how that is impacting jobs. And there is some bounce back going on, but it's selective, and we want to look into what that is and how job seekers are taking advantage of that, and also what some of the resources are for both job training, but also job training to an individual job seeker, but also how industry can access resources in the community. There are some great programs now for companies that are trying to bring people back on board that are either no cost or low cost to an employer. And we want to make those known to you and available through this morning's webinar as well. So with that, I want to turn it over to Centra to introduce our panel and proceed. But I first need to say, just highlight a few things. If you are following the business news at all, the names Amazon, Five Below, FedEx, Stream Data Centers, Lennar Homes, all major headlines in business, new business for the Phoenix area, and all in the West Valley. And that's just the last week's headlines. Okay, there's a lot going on right now, especially in the West Valley. And as many of you know, Centra Hoffman has been laying the foundation for that kind of development and those kinds of employment opportunities for a number of years now. And even in a pandemic, the boom is on in the West Valley thanks to Centra's leadership at Westmarc and others that we have here today. So Centra, tell us how we're going to keep growing the economy and hiring people with this panel.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. I'd love to take all the credit for all the great things that's happening in the West Valley, but we all know that nothing happens with one person. It's always a team. And so we're fortunate at Westmarc to have the economic development teams from all of the 15 communities in the West Valley, as well as the partnerships that we have on this great panel this morning. So I'll just kind of run through the lineup. We have Haley Fairley with Grand Canyon University. They're a huge partner in the West Valley and a great educator, and they really call their investment, they really feel that they're a West Valley school, and that we're really proud of that. Christy Bach is with Best Companies, and I've had the pleasure of working with Christy for a number of years. And so, Christy, I'm so glad that we're doing this morning. Then we have Ron Mack with Goodwill of Central Arizona and Northern Arizona. Did I say that correctly, Ron? I hope I did. You'll correct me if I didn't.
You were great.
Goodwill has been a tremendous partner with Westmarc throughout the years, and so we appreciate everything that you bring to the table. And then Kevin Duncan with Arizona at Work. Kevin is one of our workforce gurus and just a tremendous partner and leader that we have within the organization. And in a little bit, we'll have Christy Weiss joining us with Sunridge Hotels, and she is the business development director for the new hotel in Avondale. So really excited about the lineup that we have this morning. And first, I'd like to kind of give you an overview of Westmarc and how we work with all of our partners. I mentioned earlier that we have 15 communities in the West Valley, and so this slide shows you all of our 15 cities communities that are in the West Valley, 13 municipalities, and 2 Maricopa County communities. And we're excited that we have them because everything that we do at Westmarc gets done with the leadership of these cities, from the elected officials to the government relations, to the city managers, and to the specifically the economic development directors. So we're excited that we have those folks at the table. Our goals at Westmarc, our strategic goals is really positioning the West Valley for economic development opportunities and job growth. And the way we do that is a variety of areas, promoting our workforce and several other things, but mainly this morning I'm going to focus in on promoting our workforce and marketing the West Valley and changing the perception of who we are today. So as we kind of go into this, several years ago, about I'm going to say 5 or 6 years ago, the West Valley mayors looked at I-10 and they saw this mess of traffic driving east every morning, and they brought this to the Maricopa Association of Governments table, MAG, and said, where are these people going? Who are they? And how can we retain them in our community? So we started working on a really deep dive of gathering information on our workforce and understanding who they are. With that, we developed West Valley Pipeline. West Valley Pipeline is a regional development, workforce development strategy. And we collected the data, we hired a consultant, we did some stakeholder outreach and developed this plan. And now we're in the action phase of that plan. So Christina, I know you're probably struggling with the advancements, right?
A little bit.
Okay, so we're on slide 7. I want to talk a little bit about West Valley Pipeline. So it is a 5-year strategy that's really focused on marketing identifying our workforce, developing our workforce for the future, and marketing this to companies as a business attraction tool. So this plan is divided into 3 areas: marketing the West Valley, developing industry partnerships. Again, the panel that we have this morning is indicative of that. And then doing continuous outreach. You know, when we started the plan about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, but obviously things change and they change constantly. So we're always doing outreach to find out what are the needs today and how can we then start pivoting our work. And this discussion that we're having this morning is perfect because that really tees it up. The hospitality industry obviously has been hit pretty hard by the impacts of COVID. And so responding to that and kind of taking a step back and understanding what those skills are that are in hospitality and how they can transcend to other industries is really important. So the industries that we are focused on in the West Valley are attracting advanced business services, advanced manufacturing, aerospace, aviation, health services, IT, transportation, and logistics. At the end of the day, all of those skills are very similar, or if not the same, to everything that we do in the hospitality industry. It's all about customer service. It's all about customer relations. It's about those soft skills. It's about that work ethic, showing up to work, and being interested in you know, moving your organization forward. We are on slide 9, Christina. And so what I'd like to just show you there are some of the key industries that we have, again, and the deeper dive that we've taken into them. Are you able to get to 9? One more? Okay, so as I mentioned, the industries that we're focused on previously, healthcare, manufacturing, finance, and so on. What I want to show you is the level of the data that we pull in these industries are pretty deep. We're understanding what companies we have in these specific areas, how many employees they have, and that information is really helpful as we hit times like this, where all of a sudden now we have to juggle these numbers because we have folks that are in the hospitality industry that may need to fit into some of these other areas. And so how do we then start responding to these needs? So I mentioned earlier that another one of our goals is making sure that we are marketing the West Valley and marketing 15 communities with one voice. That's not always easy. But somehow we always make it work because I think as a team, we understand that we are greater together than apart. So with that, we market the West Valley in several ways. We have several publications, several partnerships with in the media arena, and then we also do a lot on social media to make sure that our message is getting out continuously. We market our statistics about the West Valley most, because that's really where companies make decisions. They look at critical mass. They look at the numbers of people that we have, that a region has, that a community has, and then they make their decision. Okay, this sounds like a good area for me to move into. I know I'm gonna have the workforce. And so that's why we pull a lot of that together. So as I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned that Westmarc is a membership organization, and so our membership is in 3 major sectors, and that is all the local governments in the West Valley. So we have government, we have business, and we have education, and then we also have several nonprofits. And so on the business side, we're making sure that we're, again, recruiting companies that are within those specific industry areas. So everyone wants to know, you know, what do you do? What exactly do you do for me, and how am I getting my money's worth? And so we definitely market. We let people know what's happening in the region. We generate that activity and that excitement about the area. On normal times, we have a lot of networking events. We're still continuing to do those because we're able to interact with folks in a virtual environment. But one of the specific areas that I really want to hit on that's relevant to this discussion is career expos. So several years ago, we had one of our new members join and said, you know, I had this incredible hiring need in healthcare. And I said, well, you know, I don't do hiring events, but I know people who do. So we pulled together a strategy and a plan with career connectors, with Arizona at Work, and with Goodwill. And we were able to work with all of the cities and have these career expos focused on healthcare, but really we can transcend that into any industry. We can do that with hospitality, with finance, with insurance, with whatever industry that we need to pivot to, we can do that because we have a great model. What I'm showing you there is a picture of this event being advertised on a digital billboard along I-10. I think actually this one's probably Loop 101. But the point here is that with the partnership that we have with all the cities, we're able to expose our career expos to a greater audience. These expos show up on all of the billboards all over the West Valley. So really, the participants that the companies that participate in this, they get a great bang for their buck, because when you talk about advertising costs and recruiting costs, it's pretty expensive. And so when you add all of this up, what we're able to do on behalf of our community, but then also with our business partners, is really provide a great opportunity for them to maximize their dollars. So with that, I'm gonna kind of leave it on this last slide and let you know that, you know, as I mentioned several times, Westmarc is made up of all these different communities. And while these are city government logos that you're looking at, the reality is it goes really deep. So it's all of the businesses, it's all of the schools, it's all of the nonprofits, and all of these folks within these regions really come together and work as a team to move the West Valley forward. Any questions about that? I think Christine's going to take questions at the end. I'm just going to kind of roll into the next phase, Christine. Okay, great. So we will have an opportunity for Q&A at the end. So we're not going to be just talking at you the whole time, I promise. Okay, so next up, I would like to kick it off. I think we're going to kick off with a poll, Christina, correct?
No, we removed some of the polls because they didn't fit.
Okay.
Character-wise. Okay,
great. So then the first up that we will be talking about is our current state of the hospitality industry. And there's several questions that we're going to kind of go through here, and I'd like to just kind of open it up to the panel a little bit. So starting off with Ron. Ron, what advice for job seekers do you have that are out there looking for jobs in terms of their resume applications? What do they need to be doing to make sure that they're making the transition?
Thank you so much, Centra. So I'll first start off by saying that we all know that the current state of the unemployment situation is on a lot of people's minds, especially today, because we're all wondering if the extension of that money, the extra dollars that we know about, is going to be extended. And so a lot of people have actually, we have found here at Goodwill when reaching out to job seekers, is that a lot of job seekers are actually looking at the fact that they're seeing a check that is bigger than what they've ever received in their life. And so what we have come together and said is that individuals need to start looking for employment now when the competition is not there. So there's a lot of individuals who are sitting back and actually looking to see where exactly jobs are, and if there's actually jobs out there, and maybe they're reluctant about actually changing their industry of what they're looking at going into. But I will say that there are plenty of jobs out there, especially in the hospitality industry, and that individuals want you and employers want you to actually apply now. So don't wait until your unemployment runs out to go looking for employment, because then there's going to be millions and millions of individuals out there actually looking for employment. So I am encouraging you now, today, to start looking for that employment and not wait for, as we know, we don't know what's going to happen with the unemployment situation. That being said, I will say that one of the main things here at Goodwill, and I know a lot of the other partners on here, is our focus is on upskilling and actually looking at some of the different ways that you can upskill yourself and making you more employable to a lot of the employers out there. And the focus that we see is computer skills and actually upping your computer skills, whatever means necessary, and getting those certificates that you're able to get out in the community, whether it's at no cost or it's at a low cost. But we're actually saying that individuals need to look at any avenue that they can take in terms of upskilling themselves and getting those small certificates or whatever it may look like, so that employers can see that you're actually applying yourself to a lot of the different positions and that you're actually able to come in and start work right away. And we're seeing that a lot of employers, that's probably the #1 deficiency, is computer skills. So I'm just really harping on that because that is probably the #1 deficiency that we're seeing with a lot of job seekers. Here at Goodwill, we definitely have no cost computer skills programs from the basic level to the intermediate level to the high level. I mean, I know a lot of the partners on here also have a lot of programs and training programs that you can definitely benefit from so that you can upskill yourself. And the other thing, the last thing I'll just focus on is upgrading or enhancing your resume. We know that's the first thing that employers see. So making sure that actual employers can see a great resume. I know you get different opinions from different people on what a resume should look like. But I can tell you that here at Goodwill, we definitely have career navigators that are here to look at your resume and see what things you can change around, how you can revise it, things you can delete or add. So definitely look at your resume, making sure that it's up to par. So when you send that out, so I would highly recommend you visiting one of the Goodwill no-cost career centers or one of the Arizona at Work. I know that they also have some of the same type of services and resources as well. But that's definitely some of the benefits that I would say in terms of visiting our career centers here at Goodwill.
Great, thank you, Ron. I'm going to step back a little bit. Krista is on the line, and Krista is with Sunridge Hotels. And so, Krista, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in hospitality right now? I know you and I have had a discussion, and it's just really interesting. So can you, I know a lot of the participants on the line are in your line of work, but can you kind of give us an overview and start off with that?
Yeah, definitely. So it's just been very interesting, working in this industry while this has been going on. So I represent one of the hotels in the West Valley, the Residence Inn Hotel. And, while this has all been going on, we obviously incurred furloughs and layoffs. So we furloughed 16 out of our 29 employees at this location. When business was starting to pick back up, we did bring those individuals back. So to this day, we have all of those individuals back, but we did have individuals that did not want to come back to the hotel due to the uncomfortability of what's going on. So that was very challenging for us. But we did see that the applicant pool was very large to fill those positions because those individuals that were furloughed from other hotels, they are the ones that we want. They are the ones that are looking for employment and, want to get back working again. And so for us, we found that the applicant pool was very large, and we were able to fill those positions that were coming in. And so that was great. Right now, where we are today, we're probably about 70 to 80% back to normal. So that's great. We're just kind of adapting with the changes and what's going on. And so that's kind of a little bit about us, but it's just definitely been interesting working in this industry while everything has been going on. So.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to Haley. So Haley, Ron talked a lot about needing IT skills and computer skills. Talk a little bit about what advice you would give some job seekers from the GCU perspective.
Thank you, Cintra. So our recommendation, and kind of just for job seekers to think about, is what skills do they have currently, and what skills do they really need to build to meet any of the jobs that they're looking at, and to be open to new opportunities. I think that one of the things that people always fear is, how do we acquire those skills? And so at GCU, we have many different ways to do that in different pathways. And I know we'll be talking more about that in this discussion. But really that flexibility, I think all employers are looking for job seekers who are willing to be flexible and apply more of a generalist thinking, and be open to the changes that are existing within all the job opportunities, and say, if you can't, shake hands anymore, for example, how do you welcome people in any of your different environments that you're doing? And at GCU, we have some really great leaders, especially trying to transition, and how different employers, for example, our general manager of our GCU hotel, Brett Courtwright, has many, many years of figuring out how to pivot in these type of circumstances, and to figure out how do you train and retrain some of your staff to come together as a team to really serve your customers and really still have those relationships, but knowing that job seekers really need to be open that it's going to look and feel different, than it ever has before, and that's okay, and have those discussions with all those different leaders to figure out what skills do you need to have. If you're wearing a mask, how do you welcome people maybe with your hands differently than we're used to just saying, welcome in because somebody can't, hear. And as he says too, holding doors open and things. So just figuring out how do you apply those service excellence skills, and think about in these changing times how to apply them in the current environment, but also seek out, whether it's Goodwill, GCU, the community colleges, other ways in which to enhance those skills and apply them across the different industries.
Great. Christy, give us a quick wrap on that. What's your advice?
I think it is really all about those transferable skills. And I think it's just really, I think job seekers now have maybe a new opportunity to usher in a new career, trajectory. And so I think not getting overwhelmed with the fact, or kind of parking on the fact that, well, gosh, I've always sat in the hospitality industry. That experience is really valuable, so to a lot of other employers. So it might be that, okay, you're taking your current skill set and really understanding, where can I pivot? What companies am I really passionate about? What am I, what are my strengths? What are the things that really intrigue me from maybe a company standpoint, an industry standpoint? Maybe someone's really into, technology. So really understanding the tech companies that are out there that they could maybe step into a customer service role or a sales position. Within, a whole host of organizations. Their employers, to kind of echo what's already been said, employers are, dying on the vine for customer service and sales professionals, and are willing and are very excited about the skill set that individuals bring from the hospitality industry. So, there's an open door there, and there's a huge opportunity. So I think it is, just keeping an open mind, but I think also part of it is also really leveraging resources that can allow you to, network and get transitioned into a new opportunity.
Great, thank you. So I think we covered, what's happening right now in the marketplace, specific to hospitality, some of the advice that you're giving folks on the phone, on this line, and then really what employers are looking for. So they're looking for customer service skills, they're looking for that dedication. I'm going to show up, I'm going to be consistent, I'm going to be enthusiastic, I have a job, yay, awesome for me. And then also computer skills and upskilling. So how are employers pivoting in this time frame? And Krista, I'll kind of maybe punt that to you. I'll start that with you. how do you feel, you as the hospitality professional, what's happening in your world?
Yeah, so I think right now we're pivoting. We're really not looking for that experience in the specific industry. If you're willing to kind of adapt to all the changes that are coming, because in this industry, today is going to be different than tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be different than a few months from now. So just having that mindset and really that positive kind of attitude. I mean, we're here to provide that hospitable service to everybody that's coming. And so if you can do that, that's kind of what we're looking for. And some people are very hospitable in ways that they don't even know. And so if they never worked in this industry and they show us that, hey, they're here to make everybody happy and kind of do what they need to do, that's kind of where we're pivoting in this industry.
Great, thank you. Ron, are you hearing, what kinds of advice are you getting, and what kind of are you giving, and what kind of folks are you dealing with at Goodwill from this perspective?
I'll say that here at Goodwill that we're seeing a lot of job seekers that they're feeling discouraged, first of all, by the current situation that we're dealing with, and so that kind of if I can say, maybe lowers their self-esteem or likelihood of maybe getting out there in the field and actually applying for positions that maybe they're qualified for. But I will say that, as Christy spoke to before, is those transferable skills, we really harp on those and letting individuals know that they do have a lot of the skills that it takes to actually get these positions that are out there right now. And so really harping on those transferable skills with these job seekers is vital to kind of uplifting them and letting them know that they are capable of doing these jobs in the hospitality industry.
Cynthia, you're on mute.
Cynthia, we can't hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to be respectful and mute myself and I forgot. So before we move on to Kevin's presentation, just any final words from anyone else on the panel in this area?
Yeah, and I'd like to say too, current, folks in the training, especially going into either the hospitality or want to go in the hospitality, I'm not sure it's about how hospitality really can cross over to different industry sectors, and kind of making sure that people understand, even at, for example, at GCU, our lead faculty, Jennifer Elfenbein, is really looking at how do we integrate more safety and sanitation training, related into the curriculum, but also how do you keep that transactional customer approach? That's not really what hospitality, trying to transform people's thinking and application to be transformational and build those long-term relationships. And that can really be in all different industries. So excited about the future state and for different kind of job seekers to be able to look for those opportunities as we move ahead.
Great. Okay, well, I think we're gonna, you can hear me now, right? Okay, awesome. So I think we're gonna turn it over to Kevin Duncan, Business Services Team Supervisor at Arizona at Work. And I will say, by far, from the Westmarc perspective, just an incredible resource, knowledgeable individual and hard worker, and someone who definitely embodies that, that spirit that we're talking about, approaching your job with enthusiasm. Kevin.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Central. I'll try to live up to that. Good morning, everybody. It's very exciting to be here on this presentation and fascinating discussion so far. So when I was invited to participate in this and was given the topic, the question was, how can we help those individuals who are in hospitality find new opportunities, whether that be in hospitality or whether they are seeking to re-career into something else. I will say that driving into the office this morning, and the National Labor Report shows that hospitality and leisure month over month was the fastest growing industry, although that does still say that there's still a lot of room and still a lot of opportunity for those individuals who have been negatively impacted and maybe have made a decision that hospitality is no longer where they want to stay. As Krista was sharing, still a lot of opportunity though. And so I would encourage those of you to continue looking, continue applying, continue looking for those great opportunities. But if you go to the next slide, Arizona at Work is the statewide workforce development program. We have offices all over the state. My office is Maricopa County, and that's my territory. We have services for job seekers. We have services for employers. I think there is more information at the end of the presentation, but for the sake of time, I want to get into some real numbers about what's happening now in the hospitality industry. So on the next slide, I started with the question, if someone is in hospitality, is there really an opportunity for them to re-career? Is there really an opportunity for them to transfer their skills into something new? So I wanted to take a look at what were the most common skills within the hospitality industry. So I have a tool available to me that allows me to take a look at want ads that have been posted. So I looked at the 12 months ending in February of 2020 before the pandemic hit, for the hospitality industry, and what were the most common skills that employers in hospitality are looking for. My assumption is that if these are the skills that employers are looking for, then very likely workers who are successful in this career probably have most or all of these skills. So once I identified those skills, then I took a look at across all industries just over the last 3 months. So as industries and businesses are pivoting to this new reality, what skills are they looking for now? And no surprise to me, I've seen this before, out of the top 10 skills that all industries are looking for now, compared to skill levels of the hospitality workers, 8 of the 10 overlap. 8 of the top 10 skill needs for employers today, workers in the hospitality industry have. This suggests that there is a high level of transferability of your skills. The other thing that I noticed, and again, not a surprise, is that of those 8, 6 to 7 of those are soft skills. And as Krista was mentioning, and I think she echoes what I hear a lot from many employers are looking for attitude. Many employers are looking for the ability to learn, and then they will teach you what you need to know in order to be successful in your career. Now, I need to be clear that there are industries and there are occupations that do require a certain level of expertise, a certain level of education and training, but for the most part, a lot of the skills that workers earned while working in hospitality transfer very well into what employers across all industries today are looking for. So on the next slide, if we identify that many of the top skill needs are soft skills, how can you identify those for a potential employer? So as Ron was saying, for Goodwill, GCU, a lot of the other partners here, we can help you with your resume. You want to make sure that your resume speaks very specifically to the job posting as it is described. They will tell you what they are looking for. You need to position your resume to show that you have those direct skills. But another thing that you can do is you can take the Arizona Career Readiness Assessment and gain an Arizona Career Readiness credential. The Arizona Career Readiness credential is statewide, it's no cost, but it assesses an individual on 7 foundational employability skills. There's 3 hard skills and there's 4 soft skills, and a worker or a candidate who takes the assessment has a score on a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum level, that you put that on your resume, and that indicates to an employer that you have a level of soft skill proficiency, that you know what it means to be a professional, you know what it means to work in a team, you know how to communicate, and some of those other things that are most important to employers that show that you are trainable. So many of the partners on the call today can help you get set up with the ACRC. Just ask any of us. It is a proctored exam, but we can help you prepare for that. We can help you sit for that. And then once you have the credential, you can put this on your resume. Next slide. I also wanted to take a look and see how big is the opportunity today. So everyone hears we're in a recession. Everyone hears that companies are laying off. Are there any opportunities today? Are there any employers hiring? So I pulled another analysis. There's a lot of numbers on this page. It would take me way too long to unpack all of these. I just want to point to two numbers. First, today, or last Thursday when I pulled this report, there were 9,500 employers in Maricopa County who have open positions that they are recruiting for. So over 9,500 employers who are looking for workers. Those 9,500 employers have posted 67,500 postings. This is as of a week ago. I will say that compared to the beginning of the year, when we ran these reports in January and February, we were looking more in the neighborhood of 12,000 employers and about 100,000 open positions. So it has gone down, but these numbers that I'm seeing today have leveled off, and these are the same numbers or in the same ballpark that I've seen for about the last 2 months. I don't expect these to go down any further than they are, unless something unexpected and totally drastic happens to the market, but we don't see that on the horizon. There's over 9,000 employers looking for you, and they posted over 67,000 postings. And these are postings. Many of these postings have multiple openings, and this does not even count those employers who have openings that haven't gotten around to posting, don't know how to post, are relying on word of mouth openings. You can probably double that number to get to the true amount of opportunity that exists today in Maricopa County of open positions. And on the next slide, what are these open positions? So no surprise, and many of the panelists have already hinted on many of these. Customer service by far is the most sought after position. And then you see many of the others. So companies still need to service their customers. Companies still need to make things. Companies still need to sell things. Companies still need to fix things that are broken. And then you have your healthcare opportunities, because people still get sick and they need to be cared for. There is a lot of opportunity with a lot of opportunity to transfer your skills into new occupations, into new industries. And I could go on for quite a while, but for the sake of time, I'm going to stop there. I know there's more slides at the end of the presentation, but I'm going to kick this back to Centra. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Before we transition to the panel discussion, I believe we have a poll question, Christina. Nope. Yes, we do. So for our audience, employers seeking talent can tap into furloughed or unemployed hospitality workers. Is that true or false? You've heard a lot this morning so far. We'll give it another 5 seconds, so get your answers in there. Okay, true. So folks are really listening. Awesome. All right, so let's move on to our next section, which is the future state. So where are we heading? Based on a lot of what we've heard this morning, we have Patty O'Brien with Maricopa Corporate College. Patty, tell us, how can unemployed job seekers pivot and utilize their different skills in these different, and utilize their skills in these different industries?
Thanks, Centra. It's an honor to be here, and really everyone has covered, some of the wonderful points here, and one of those, I think the main thing is to remain hopeful. Just to point out that our community has come together in such an amazing way, that there's organizations, employers, associations trying to help job seekers find these opportunities, and help employers find these job seekers. So it's wonderful to be part of this group that's dedicated to this purpose. And I think, as we mentioned today, all these transferable skills, it's like people are having to think out of the box like never before. But if you can look back at your work history and look at your skills and really write down your strengths. And what we've all talked about today is that customer service is a strength. Soft skills are a strength, and customer service, which is coming from the hospitality industry, of course, service industry, transfers over to teamwork and collaboration, and critical thinking, and all those wonderful communication skills too. So if you're great at customer service, and maybe you're in the service industry, you could be a great team player, you know, in a whole entirely different industry. So I think one thing to offer for folks is to really think out of the box, take a step back, and think about what you might want to do in a new world, and then understand that your skills that we've just pointed out are transferable. And there's many opportunities through the community colleges, through GCU, through trainers, through Arizona Work Funding, many opportunities to quickly and rapidly get some skills to upskill or transfer, and then get in front of employers who are looking. And so I'll cover that a little bit later in the presentation, some of those specific opportunities. But I think number one, just understand that you do have skills that these employers are looking for. And thank you, Kevin, for sharing. Over 9,000 employers are hiring in our community too. So very exciting. Stay optimistic.
Great. So I think I'm going to go straight to this section, is talk a little bit about some of the internships that are out there, and I'll ask Patty and Haley to take those two areas. Patty, since you're speaking, why don't we continue on with you?
We're looking at each other, huh? It's been wonderful to work with Haley, and we partner on connecting for opportunities with, of course, Maricopa Community College students can transfer right on to GCU and continue in any field. We have opportunities for work-based experiences, which are really employment while learning, and employers are so open to that today. So that would be a definition of an internship, and there are many opportunities out there where you'll be paid while you're doing this internship. An example that we'll cover also a little bit later, I think, is Apprenti, is a program where job seekers can get involved in almost a 2-year apprenticeship with employers like SRP. And some of the programs that we'll talk about in a minute that will rapidly skill you to get started in technology, possibly to get something like a CompTIA certification. Things like that can get you started in an industry where you can get into technology, help desk, cybersecurity, and move on up the pipeline. And so there's many opportunities there. And I'll point out to Apprenti and talk about it again a little bit later. And then I'll refer over to Haley for other internship opportunities.
Thank you, Patty. Yes, and the internship opportunities or work experience, opportunities might be looking different. We have lots of discussions with different organizations of how are they doing also remote internships, even related to the customer service industry. And so just talking to an organization yesterday, of how do we have somebody who has great customer service, customer relationship skills to be able to build, more and support their donor network that they have. And so things are looking different, but their internship is available to work remotely. And so we've got, a different mode of thinking for everybody, for job seekers, but also for the employers to think outside of the box, as Patty was mentioning, and figuring out, there are those opportunities to get involved. And also I would encourage folks to think about, the volunteer opportunities that also organizations are hosting, to see how they might be able to put those skills into practice into a new maybe industry or company that they never thought about before, and then see how they might get involved. So we're seeing lots of opportunities still coming away to work and to grow that pipeline in internships and other volunteer work experience, but they might be looking different. And so from a student perspective, either a new, a person who's transferring into a new workspace, just to be, again, open-minded to how they are able to dig in and support those organizations and really learn how they might be able to apply their skills.
So let me also ask, how would a job seeker find out about some of these internship opportunities? Krista, are you guys posting those? Are you working with some of the schools that we have in the West Valley? Are you looking for those connections? How can we connect the opportunities with the job seeker, and obviously you being one of the employers?
Yeah, so we definitely post all of our positions, through Marriott.com and through Indeed. But if somebody comes in, we meet them face to face and they're looking for employment and they can explain their position. I think just putting yourself out there and, seeing what employers might not have it listed, but they might have something available. And so just walking into just a facility and kind of seeing what they have available. But we mainly post everything on Marriott.com and Indeed for all the positions that we have available.
Great, thank you. I'm going to ask Christy and Ron to kind of address the same thing. Is how are you? Because I think this is a really big area where there are definitely the needs and the opportunities, but sometimes as a job seeker, we're not really sure how to find those or how to connect in. So Ron, what are you seeing from your area? And then Christy, if you can respond to that also.
Sure.
Yeah, I think from a job seeker standpoint is I just see that there's just a lot of reluctancy in terms of trying to find the approach of where exactly I need to go and getting the confidence to actually get out there and find the jobs and where things are headed with different industries. Are there really jobs in this industry? And I think it's, just going back to what I said earlier, is the psyche of people currently in this current times is really kind of playing with the minds of many individuals and trying to get back to that normalcy that we're all trying to get to is very difficult. And so really trying to talk to these job seekers about what they can, what are some of these skills that they can use to actually put towards the hospitality industry or any of the other industries that we talked about is very critical for these job seekers to actually find that self-esteem that they do have to actually obtaining a job in these current times.
Thank you. Christy.
Yeah, so there are a lot of opportunities out there, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, and we'll have our information available, but we partner with some exceptional companies in the Valley that are hiring today and have literally hundreds of open opportunities for customer service and, really entry-level sales. So again, if someone's looking to, they've been furloughed from the hospitality industry and are looking to kind of step into a new, industry, there are companies that are hiring. And so, our website has a COVID-19 page, and there's 70 logoed companies that are hiring, and we've got their job openings listed, their validated open positions, and then we've partnered with Arizona at Work, and we have a whole spreadsheet of 200 other companies that are hiring that have immediate needs. And so so that's just an immediate place that somebody can go to. But I think as far as just like tangible, because I think individuals, candidates to kind of what we're talking about, feel a little, they're distraught, they're confused, they're feeling a little defeated. And so, again, I think just really parking on the place that, okay, I need to create a resume that is going to highlight the great skills that I do have. And so, one of the things that we suggest that, employers are looking for is, taking and really thinking back to what your achievements were. So, let's say that you were in customer service and you were interfacing with the public, and let's say you had an 80% customer satisfaction, result ongoing, and that was maybe in your performance review. Putting that as an achievement under, your specific job experience and being able to talk to that, because that's transferable. That's what employers are looking for. They're looking for your previous experience is definitely going to parlay into that next role that you step into. So really being aware and being able to quantify what your achievements were and being able to specifically talk to that. Really just understanding what your competencies were, what your achievements are, and really formulating that in a resume where it's going to just get someone's attention. And again, kind of looking at that job description of that new role that you might be looking at and making sure that you've covered everything in your resume that employer may be looking for.
So take that question. Oh, go ahead, Ron, go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I think the reluctancy of a lot of the job seekers, I would just ask them to really understand that utilizing these resources and services that we're talking about is very vital, because maybe you don't want to get up from the couch or wherever you may be to actually, putting forth that effort to gaining those skills that you need and upskilling yourself and enhancing your resume. And so utilizing the, Goodwill Career Centers at no cost or the Arizona at Work, those type of resources, those individuals, they're waiting for you to come in there. And so they want to help you with building your resume and navigating the system and finding these different jobs and these thousands of jobs that are out there waiting for you. So I highly encourage these job seekers to utilize these resources that we're giving you and don't think that you have to do it on your own.
Great. So Christy, I was going to say, thank you, Ron. Christy, take that, your comments to the next level. So what types of pathways do you see that may exist for job seekers that might want to, just be ready to exit the industry at this time? And how can they, what are the new industries that they can transition into, and what are you seeing in that area?
Yeah, and I would say we're seeing a lot of employers, because of, what is happening in the marketplace, there's an increased need for levels of customer service, and in some industries, levels of salespeople, so entry-level salespeople, where no experience is required. And so the great thing is there's customer service and sales roles that really are a natural pathway to, not only a great short-term, new career goal, but oftentimes these entry-level type of positions in customer service and sales within an organization, it's kind of, you get the ability and kind of the blessing of really understanding the company from the ground up. And many of the employers that we work with at Best Companies will promote from these entry-level customer service and entry-level sales positions into, the rest of the organization. So oftentimes, it can be a gateway into, maybe someone starts in customer service, but they have a real desire to step into human resources down the road. So, through some additional schooling and, certificates, they can have a pathway there. So, it's just a natural gateway into, really stepping into a new organization and perhaps a completely different, career track for them.
Great. And then Kevin, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about, are you seeing some of these pathways in more of the finance industry? I think early on we heard that while hospitality had lost some employees because of the immediate shutdown, but then we had that increase in that, again, that same customer service type scale, but that was really kind of exploding in the finance industry. Are you aware of that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's absolutely true, and we have seen that. Part of it is just because of the natural growth of the finance industry and the insurance industry anyway. They were looking for talent, and then needing the customer service skills that Christy and Ron and some of the others have been talking about. So having this talent available coming from an experience level where you are face-to-face with customers all the time makes this group of people very attractive to employers in the finance and the insurance industry. Many of them can take you on as entry level. Many of them, in order for you to career up, will require that you obtain levels of certification. Those are discussions that individuals can have with individual employers. Those are discussions that people can have with workforce professionals, because we try to understand what those requirements are. But to answer your question, Centra, absolutely yes. There's lots of opportunity, particularly in finance and insurance, but also in healthcare, also in retail. There's a lot of retail is kind of a mixed bag, because there are a lot of companies, a lot of stores that are suffering because of a loss of traffic, but there's many, the grocery stores in particular, and the Targets and the Walmarts, who can't find enough people. Lots of opportunities available at an entry level for people who are interested.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Patty, tell us, what does the employee of the future look like? What types of skills, training, job experience, what do they need to move forward and remain relevant?
Thanks, Cintra. Again, it's a lot of what we've talked about here, and to build on to what Kevin said, in some cases it just is a matter of a certification that could take six weeks or so, less time than that if it's condensed, to get a certification that they can then move up into a different industry. And as finance is a great example. There's a new exam called the Securities Industry Essentials exam that was introduced by FINRA, the Financial Association, a little over a year and a half ago. And it now allows folks to get into the financial services industry at an entry level. And we had a call just yesterday with the Financial Services Collaborative, and they shared all of these things that you're all mentioning here about the skills they're looking for. In addition to customer service and a willingness to be a learner, a continuous learner, if they see someone getting a certification, even if they just jump on and get some of these Udemy or certifications or classes that are free online, show an effort that they're making an effort to learn something new, to gain a new skill is a big one for them. But some of the other things they shared is a passion to help people, a passion for the customer, again, a commitment to develop and continue training, and the stamina that you demonstrate when you're out there, like Ron mentioned, out there now, looking for a new role. That's a big one too. So, get out there, be proactive. It might not be the perfect next new job for you, but get going, keep moving, exploring, and looking into that. That's going to be a sense of curiosity, I think, is a great new skill. And in a little bit, we'll talk about how there are opportunities with Arizona at Work, with Kevin's organization, to get funding if you're currently unemployed, to quickly upskill in technology. There's an opportunity to upskill, get a certification in financial services, in healthcare. A lot of people don't think about healthcare as administrative in healthcare, so there's some opportunities there as well. Gosh, and there's more too. There's manufacturing too, like you mentioned. We had a call also yesterday with another employer who they stated they're not as interested in internships. They'd rather just hire you. And I think that's a great thing to hear. So we thought you can call it an internship, which is great, and connect with your educational institution and call that an internship. But from the financial services, from manufacturing technology, this is clean room technology, they just want to hire you, want to hire the folks that are ready to start learning and move up through their organization. So I think that's encouraging, because we've got, I think, just about everybody has the ability to learn, to upskill, to be flexible, to be open, to be optimistic. So I think that should be some of the best things to get you into a new industry.
Great, thank you, Patty. Kevin, do you want to talk about funding on this section, or do you want to wait till we transition to the next?
Well, I have slides later on, so maybe if we hold on, and then it might make more sense.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we transition to the final section of our panel discussion this morning, I just want to remind the attendees, please go ahead and put your questions in the chat box. We will have a Q&A section that Christine Gannon will moderate, and so we really want to hear from you. You've been getting a lot of information this morning, so I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So now we're going to move on to the section about community resources. So what do we have out there that's available? You had the opportunity this morning to interact with really key players and connectors in the community that have the information and the resources to connect you with your next step. I think the overall message we've heard this morning is staying positive, staying connected, and just making sure that you're connecting with all of these resources. So I'll kick it off with Patty. Patty, if you will talk about what's happening at Maricopa Corporate College and what resources are out there for these job seekers.
Okay, almost forgot to unmute. Thanks, Indra. Maricopa Corporate College, just to also let everybody know, we're part of the Maricopa Community College District. So pretty honored to be able to represent 10 community colleges throughout the Valley. And what the corporate college does is we try to be a partner for rapid response opportunities, to look at what the employer's looking for, and then also to match that with what we know our students or our job seekers are looking for. So on this first slide, what we show here is some of the things that we're doing in response to what employers have told us that they're looking for and they need. And all of these were really in place before COVID and our new world, but they many of them have taken more importance now. One of the things that we do is employee training. So for employers who may be able to upskill current and incumbent employees and get them into new careers and then open up the doors for entry level to come in, we provide customized training on site for employers. In today's world, that also looks like onboarding. So if we can help employers quickly develop a set of skills that we can come to them and offer for them to onboard their employees, and especially maybe new employees, let's get them onboarded quickly so that we can get people that were not in this industry before those essential skills they need to get going. And that, again, I hope gives confidence to a lot of our job seekers out there today that employers have onboarding, they have the set of skills that they know they need to give you to be successful in their organization. And so that'll be waiting for you. So try not to have any fear or doubt about what you might be able to do. These employers are looking for you, like we talked about earlier in the discussion. And so please don't hold back if you feel like you've never done that before. How could you ever be in that new industry? The employers, they're ready for you and they have these things set up. And so MCOR helps with that. Another thing that we've been doing is talent acquisition. So a couple of years ago, we realized how much the employers value students and alumni from the Maricopa Community Colleges. And we wanted to help employers find them and help these alumni find the employers. And one of the things we realized is that we should go digital. So we have on-site career fairs at the colleges. And again, in today's world, that's on hold. So digital is more important than ever. But if we can go digital and find these alumni and these students and these job seekers where they're at, whether it's social media, email, websites through all these organizations here today, that's what this particular service does. So we gather what the employer might be looking for, get the wording in there to attract the right job seeker, to let them know that they're considered for this job. And I know we work with everybody here, Best Companies AZ, Goodwill, of course, Arizona at Work. They're helping us get these folks upskilled. So Westmarc has been, and Westmark as well, has been helpful in pulling this all together to get the word out. Job training for dislocated workers. And I think we may be able to go, I'm actually going to jump to my last bullet here, which is education concierge. I wanted to mention that employers today, while they did a serious pause, and this slide here is a little example of some of our digital alumni recruiting. So you can see here how we will communicate what the employer may be looking for. We have some employers here, USAA, Cognizant, State Farm. What we do here is try to let, again, the job seeker understand that these employers value them and they value the skills and the education that they have. One of the other things that these employers are starting to do, they paused this in March and April and May, was they're beginning to turn back on the desire to help their employees continue their education. So while employers are, upskilling and job training, they're also working with tuition and reimbursement and tuition benefits. So one of the things that MCOR does, or Maricopa Corporate Colleges, we work with employees to help them get back to college, either begin or continue maybe their college education. We understand that especially today with a full-time job and with kids at home and schooling at home and all the other things that folks are dealing with, that it's oftentimes education's put on the back burner. So all of these services are digital. We bring them to the employee. So if we want to do enrollment advising, career advising, help them get enrolled, help them find their financial aid and their funding, help them get the tuition benefits approved, MCOR does that as well. We used to go on site to do that during lunch breaks and info sessions, and now it's all digital. So employees can schedule an appointment with what we call our Enrollment Concierge and get advice on how to begin and continue college. And the next slide, I think we'll talk about maybe more from this. Oh, okay, here we go. This is back to customized training. So this is a little more detail on what we do for employers and how we can help them identify the skills to quickly upskill incumbent employees or new hires. And if you'd like to go to the next slide, this one is for our job seekers on the line. We're thrilled to partner with Arizona at Work, and we offer training through SWIFI, which is Strengthening Working Families Initiative. This is an opportunity for anyone that has a child 13 years of age or younger. SWIFI would like to help them upskill. and get into a higher paying job. So that's really the only qualification. A few more that we help people get through the qualification process, but you can look into the opportunity to get into job training simply by having children at home. The other ones that we have are offered through Arizona at Work Again through WIOA. And so this funding will help workers that need to also upskill. They're underemployed or unemployed, and we'd like to get them quick skills to get certified and to be able to be in front of an employer and hire for a new job. Let's see, the couple of the training we have is Computer Support Tech Boot Camp. And just like everyone's mentioned here, this will let you into the technology industry. It's a beginning open door to cyber industry. And then what employers remind us every day is there's a technology division in most companies. So you can get into the healthcare industry as well in technology. So to keep an open mind about that. But the Computer Support Tech Boot Camp will give you CompTIA A+ and CompTIA N+ preparation for the exam. And this is some of the basic skills that employers say they're looking for when they hire in technology. A couple of the other programs we talk about here are Securities Industry Exam. We mentioned that earlier for financial services. If you take the initiative to take that class and take that exam, employers will interview you. They're very interested in people taking the initiative to take these courses, and the same with the computer support tech. SIE's not an easy class, but you've got guidance all the way through, and it takes you right into the beginning of financial services. And then you can go into banking or investments, whichever way you'd like to go there. All of these companies that we've spoken with that are hiring completers of these classes have shared that after a year, maybe a year and a half, you can look at moving up in your position into a new role. So it's a great way to get started in the industry. And the last three on this slide are medical industry, but they're medical administrative. So again, you can get into medical records, medical office manager, and things like that, and help out our healthcare industry in this dire time in that way. And my last note is to just always go to maricopa.edu and check out classes that you can take there. Many of the Maricopa community classes, I think 21,000 now, are all virtual. So everyone's been moving very quickly to make sure we can get classes and keep people learning. All the programs I mentioned here just now too are all virtual, so everything's ready to go.
Oh, you're muted.
Go ahead, Christy, and tell us about Best Companies. What resources do we have that job seekers can tap into?
Yeah, we've got a lot of resources, but just really quickly, just to give you an overview of who Best Companies AZ is. We've actually been doing business in Phoenix since 2002, and Denise Bredler is our CEO and founder, and I serve as the COO, and between the both of us, we've been doing business in Phoenix for 25 years, so in the business community. So we're really passionate about connecting the best companies with the best talent in the community. And so there's really kind of two sides to our organization. We are a platform, an employer branding platform. So our platform is there to showcase award-winning organizations, and our website is designed to really attract the best talent to these award-winning organizations. If you'll go to the next slide, as a job seeker, there are quite a few ways that you can connect and leverage our website. The first little box down there is called the Best News. You can sign up, subscribe as a job seeker, and we send out email alerts once or twice a week based on just new job opportunities that some of our partner best companies are looking for. So it's a great way to just really kind of hear on a consistent basis some select companies that are hiring and what they're hiring for. The next box is we created a COVID-19 page that I talked a little bit about earlier. There you will find hundreds of companies that are hiring and can link directly out to their website. So I strongly encourage you to look at that piece of information on our website. You can also submit your resume with us. We will take a look at your resume. We will personally refer you to apply to companies that we feel align with the skill sets that you have and the next step that you're looking to take in your career. And then we also have a blog on our website. And for example, we have we did a pretty large piece just last month about what does it mean to sit in customer service. And so there's all kinds of resources there for you as a job seeker. So you can just put in keywords and there's a whole host of information available to you as a job seeker. So we're here to help, and we're here to get you connected to award-winning companies that are right here in Arizona.
Thank you, Christy. Kevin, I think you've got a bag of money someplace.
Well.
I'm kidding.
So,
I'm kidding, audience.
I know.
I just like to give Kevin a hard time because he's just such a wealth of knowledge.
So before I get to the money, let me talk a little bit about some of the other services that we have at Arizona at Work, particularly with Maricopa County. We do have our 2 career centers, one in Glendale, one in Gilbert. We did not close our doors. We stayed open during the entire pandemic through April, May, and June, and we continue to stay open, although we are practicing the social distancing as everybody is, so that is restricting the number of people that we can allow in at any one time. In order to accommodate that, we have moved all of our services also virtually, that you can access from home or from wherever you want to sit and access them. You can find all those at maricopa.gov/find-a-job. Tell us what services you're looking for, and we will get back to you and help provide that. We do encourage all of our participants and all the job seekers that we work with to register on the azjobconnection.gov. Now, this is the statewide labor exchange system. As you can see, this is a screenshot as of last Thursday when I pulled this report down. On azjobconnection.gov, there are currently 64,000 postings. So just as a job board, you can go on and search for whatever keywords you're looking for. Currently on azjobconnection.gov, there are fewer than 14,000 resumes. So when people like me, my team, go in and do resume matching, if you are one of those 14,000, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to match with something because there's 64,000 jobs available. So we encourage everybody to get registered on azjobconnection.gov and to upload your resume so that myself and my team can find you when we're looking for you on behalf of the employers that we're working with. If you go on to the next slide, we have a email newsletter that we send out twice a week. It's free. We encourage everybody to sign up for this. This is the information to do so. Text the word AZ at work to the number 22828. In this newsletter that we send out, we have information about the employers that we are working with directly and what positions that they're looking for. We can make connections for you. We have information about job fairs and hiring events that we know of, whether the ones that we are hosting or ones from any of our partners, including everybody here on the webinar today. We also frequently will send out spreadsheets of the 5,000 most recent job postings we can find on the internet. This is a spreadsheet. You can sort it, you can filter it, and they all connect, or they all have links that will connect you directly to the posting. You can go directly there, get more information, and if you qualify, you can apply directly with the employer. We do have a lot of services for employers. So if there's any employers on the call today, we would love to speak with you about what your needs are. We can help you promote your openings and get your openings in front of job seekers who are looking. We can also pre-screen candidates to make sure that we're only sending you those that are most qualified and make direct candidate referrals based on your qualifications. We can assist you with hiring events and career fairs. And if you are in a situation where you will unfortunately need to downsize, we can help you with layoff assistance, particularly for the benefit of those workers who we then try to find easy connections for so that they can minimize their time on unemployment. Next slide. this is the slide Central wanted me to get to. So this is where we talk about the money. So one of our services is the occupational skills training and the funding that we have available for that. So as we talked throughout the last hour and a half about upskilling and adding new skills and adding certifications and so forth, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is the funding mechanism that can help pay for some of that education, some of that training. There are some qualifications, so it's not an entitlement. It has to be something that will lead to employment, and you have to need it as a means for employment. If you come in highly skilled and highly qualified, we're probably going to help you find a job. But if you are underskilled, if the occupation that you were in no longer allows you to advance, then occupational skills training and the funding for that is a conversation that we can have for you. So this is how to connect with us, maricopa.gov/find-a-job. Let us know what services you're looking for. And if you are a business, you can reach out to me directly or reach out to anyone on my team through the email Maricopa County Business Services @maricopa.gov, and someone will get back to you very quickly.
Thank you, Kevin. Haley, tell us about resources at GCU.
Yes, and thank you. And just, I know we're kind of short on time, but just to kind of be brief and also tap into what Patty and everybody has mentioned is, you know, GCU has many opportunities in order to connect job seekers and their interest to continuing their path of skilling and what that roadmap looks like. And so for the finance industry, we do also collaborate and have for the SIE exam and courses, and our College of Business works very closely with our finance and insurance organizations and would love to continue on that path for students if they want to seek that. Additionally, we've talked about technology programs, and we have non-degree programs for certificates and boot camps in the cybersecurity, which is a great way to help people as well. And just wanted to share, we have career support for our students that are through our academic and career excellence centers that we really help to develop those resumes and ensure that they are meeting the opportunities and the needs for our employer partners, as we have thousands of employer contacts that we work with, and our team from Strategic Employer Initiatives work with to post their opportunities and navigate you know, what job they have available, but to the right talent, because sometimes, like we've discussed today, that talent is maybe coming from a different area than we thought. So some people might be seeking, you know, for the finance industry, actually somebody from our College of Humanities and Social Sciences. So there's interpretations and things that we work to help all of those folks and our employer partners navigate to match them with great talent. And so here's just kind of a slide in order for if anybody wants to continue on their path or has interest, and I know my contact information will be here as well, but I ask that people to look at gcu.edu to see how they might continue in that roadmap and really explore the next steps for them on their career path. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Haley. And Ron, Goodwill is full of resources, so tell us a little bit about them.
Yes, thank you, Sandra. So here at Goodwill Central and Northern Arizona, I'll first start off by saying that our mission is ending poverty through the power of work. And so we really want to do everything possible to helping individuals, job seekers in the community with finding employment and making it easier for them. So during the pandemic that we're dealing with, we have not closed up. We have our career centers throughout the valley that are open from our Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And we have career navigators there that can actually help you with your job services needs. So if you're needing resume assistance or interview skills or webinars or anything to help upskill you or help you find employment, we are here for you. We also have the My Career Advisor platform, which the website is at the bottom of this page. The mycareeradvisor.com platform is basically a virtual career center. So if for some reason you don't want to come into our career center, you can get a lot of the same resources on the mycareeradvisor.com platform. So I would highly recommend you visiting that no-cost website because you'll find a lot of the resources that I'm speaking to. If for any reason you have any questions about the locations for our Goodwill Career Centers, you can see the number on there and you'll be able to speak to a live representative. That number is 602-535-4444. And this slide shows you the benefits of speaking to the career navigator that is in our career centers. So they can help you with mock interviews, the resume assistance, the credentials that I spoke about that are at no cost. Also webinars, so if you need help with personal branding or any type of upskill or anything that you may have fear of when you're out there in the field, we probably have that type of webinar that can help you to actually obtain employment. Also, we have guaranteed interviews, and when I speak to that is, if you go through our North Star Basic computer training, we actually have a lot of employers, big employers from Wells Fargo to State Farm, et cetera, that we work with, and they're guaranteeing interviews with individuals who go through our computer basics training. And like I stated, that training is at no cost. So that being said, if you have any questions for me specifically or Goodwill, you can definitely go to the virtual events at mycareeradvisor.com. So, and once again, that phone number, if you have any questions, is 602-535-4444. Once again, 602-535-4444. So thank you so much, and hope everyone finds the job of their dreams.
Thank you, Ron. Awesome. So Krista, our employer on the line, how can folks get into some opportunities that Sunridge may have?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank you, Sintra and Westmark, for putting on this presentation, because as somebody in the hospitality industry, I feel for all the job seekers right now that are going through that. And I definitely want to be a resource for, if you want to reach out to me and connect with me offline and kind of chat how I can help you. I represent just one hotel in the West Valley, but Sunridge Hotel Group, we offer plenty of hotels in Arizona specifically and a few others opening up. So please connect with me if you are looking for an opportunity, or if you just want to talk to somebody that is in the industry and kind of can see where you're coming from. My contact information is on that slide, so please reach out to me. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Krista. Thank you all to all the job seekers that are online. I know that there are a few questions, and Christine Gannon is going to go through that. But before we get into this Q&A section, I want to first thank the panel for joining us this morning, the incredible information that you were all able to give. You are all such great resources in the community, great supporters of our job seekers. And I think, the theme that we heard this morning is the employees that are going to transition well, that are going to be marketable, that are going to be sought after. Really, it's having a positive attitude. It's having a positive attitude, a can-do attitude, and understanding that we're in a whole different world right now. It's temporary, but we definitely need to pivot and be responsive to it. So Christine, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sintra. I am going to consolidate this. Given where we're at, we've had such a tremendous wealth of information shared. So a couple questions I do want to hit quickly is, will we be sending this presentation out? And yes, we will, to everyone who registered. We'll also include the questions that are listed here today with answers from our experts. There is one question that I do want to let you know we will answer in a packet. So there's a question about homelessness. And if there are people on the line that are homeless and they don't have an email address or an identification, there's a packet of information that will be coming with the presentation from St. Vincent de Paul that has a ton of information for you related to that specifically, as well as you have partners on the line today like Goodwill and Arizona at Work that can also help with that. There's a question related to what are the best resources to find certifications worth getting. Again, we'll respond to this with the attachment that we send out, but I do want you to know in the contact sheet, you have Maricopa Corporate College, you have GCU, anyone on this call today can help you figure out a personal path in terms of what certifications make sense for you. Again, a lot of these questions are fantastic. We'll make sure that we get them answered. There's a great question related to ageism and how to deal with that. We'll answer that in the packet that we send back to you, just given where we're at with time today. And I am going to turn it back over to Scott to close us out. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Christine, and thank all of you for joining us this morning, and for a really rich information-packed presentation here today. One quick thing on the homeless question. Patty may have touched on this previously as well, but some of the training that Patty was talking about this morning has been taken by people who were homeless while they were going through the training program. They completed training, got a job interview, got a job, got their first paycheck, and got their first apartment in a span of about 2 weeks. So there, to that earlier question, there are some specific examples of the programs you heard today working for people in our community that either because of COVID lost everything, or those that are just getting an opportunity for the first time to start up the career ladder. So thank you to each of our presenters. Again, thank you to those of you who joined us. I did want to just share as we conclude a couple more upcoming events. And one, I expected Sintra to have a slide for us here, but coming up in mid-September, September 15th, Westmarc is going to have their annual Health Innovation Summit. And as I mentioned at the outset, there's a lot of things going on in the West Valley. None of the companies I mentioned are in healthcare, but the same thing is going on in healthcare. And so September 15th is the Westmarc Health Innovation Summit. Just in a couple weeks here, Maricopa Corporate College is going to have a virtual hiring event for computer support technicians, CompTIA program graduates. That's August 20th, and that's accessible through the information about the Maricopa Corporate College. And then finally, on the west side, a month or so from now, September 24th, City of Goodyear is going to have a career fair focused on those industries that are booming. They're building new facilities and they need to fill them with qualified applicants. And we're grateful for all the partners on the line today that are helping funnel candidates into those jobs, or Krista and her colleagues who are hiring them and putting them to work. And thank you all for joining us. We look forward to the next one and hope that you have a wonderful day and a great weekend in Arizona.
Thank you.